a lovely Saturday, and we are back on your screens to give you nothing but the best in terms of sports highlights. And welcome to Off the Pitch. I'm your host, Amos, aka Amo Ray. And I'm not alone on stage today. I'm only joined by Augustine. Augustine, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Amos. It's always good to be here. We return all the glory and honor to the Most High God for the gift of life and good health. It's been a very eventful week, and I attended a workshop during the course of the week regarding youth football. I think it was very, very interesting because you realize FAS cannot have a youth league which will run countrywide, so they've divided it into zones. So there's a zone which I went to attend the meeting. They will start a youth league which will have under 12, under 14, and under 16, and as they go on, they'll introduce under 19 or under 18 if these three leagues go very, very well. I think it was very, very interesting to hear the ideas that a lot of people are sharing. If you look at Zambian football at the minute, I think we are going the opposite direction with many countries. I think the problem has always been grassroots football. We haven't paid a lot of attention to grassroots football. I think it's one area which we need to really, really focus on, grassroots football, so that we can produce the next Sambalungu, the next Emmanuel Mayuka, and so forth.
Looking at, is that another project of one Andrew Kamanga wanting to develop like academy leagues in Zambia, whereby we'll be grooming our own players?
I think what I got from the workshop is that the Football Association of Zambia has made these certain executives around the country to run these zones, and then these executives are the ones who report to Football Association of Zambia. It's not that the league will be direct with the Football Association of Zambia, but there's executives that will be running these leagues, and then they'll be reporting back to Football Association of Zambia. It's very, very interesting to note that there's a COSAFA team under 17 which is coming up, and they're going to go through this around these zones. From these zonal leagues, they'll pick players. Each team will contribute 2 or 3 players to these. There will be trials, and then they'll start trimming down up to the last 23-man squad that will be selected for the COSAFA tournament. So it's very, very interesting. It's an idea which I think if we embrace it and put enough effort and energy towards it, I think it will be very, very good for Zambian football. You can take examples. England were a nation which were very, very struggling in terms of talent, but they realized they went back to their roots and started doing very, very well grassroots football, and we've seen the results. I think now England are one of the top sides, not only just in Europe but in world football now. And if you look at Belgium, I think there was a time Belgium were failing to qualify for tournaments. I think they had gone back to under 14 football. They introduced 4-3-3, if I'm not mistaken. That's when we saw the birth of the likes of Vincent Kompany, Eden Hazard, Jan Vendoga, and they were part of that developmental project. And from 10 years later, Belgium were playing at the World Cup semi-finals. I think you can see now the progress. It won't happen overnight. It won't happen next week. It will take time. We just need to have patience, have the right structures in place, and hope to see our football get to the next level.
You know, an apology for Uncle Rapson, who is not with us in the studios, as he's going to cover the game that will be played at 15 hours. That's Young Green Eagles versus Nkana, because it's of interest, and we told him to say, okay, you cover the game, so that you give us the best of interim in terms of what will take place at the games. But anyway, before we look at the very hectic week that we've had from the games that were played by Zambia, the international friendlies, which have been disappointing so far, we'll just take a very short break and we'll be right back on the other side.
Camnet TV is here to entertain, educate, and inform you. Catch Rise and Thrive at 0730 hours every Saturday. Fresh and new praise and worship comes Monday to Friday at 8 hours. Kids need to be glued to the TV every weekday at 09 hours for their favorite cartoons. Off the pitch with the boys as they talk about sport on Saturdays at 09:30 hours.
Remember, we are also here to entertain you with our different varieties of movies every weekday at 10 hours. Join Pastor Victoria and Moses Chuluba with Healing Word Ministries International Church live sermon every Sunday at 10 hours.
Katamanda brings to you another journey of gospel ministers on Saturdays at 10:30 hours. The verdict comes to your screens at 17:45 hours. Join the Revival Harvest Church every Sunday at 18:30 hours.
Every Monday to Saturday, join us on the news desk at 12 hours as we bring to you the midday news, and at 19:30 hours Central African time every day for the main bulletin.
The ministry with Pastor Moses Chilua comes every Friday at 20:45 hours. On Mondays, it's your favorite national matters at 20:45 hours.
Wednesday and Thursday, Pastor Victoria and Moses Chuluba are on Partnership of Greatness with different spiritual teachings at 20:45 hours.
And Frank on Camnet comes to your screen every Tuesday at 20:45 hours.
Camnet TV, not just another channel.
What a disappointing week that we've had so far in terms of the friendly games that were being played, and the last one is being played tomorrow. And yesterday we had a taste of Sudan as we just played a friendly game that's not on the FIFA calendar, but tomorrow we are playing one which is recognized on the calendar. But all the same, Augustine, let's look at the way the games were being played. The performance of the Zambian national team, I don't know what's in. We played our first game that was on Saturday against Senegal, which we lost to 3-1, and we played against Benin, which we drew. So how is the performance so far? And for those who are just joining us, you're watching Off the Pitch, the show that gives you nothing but the best in terms of sports. And you can also watch us live. That's on our Facebook page, Camnet, like it, and you'll be able to watch us live there, because we are not just another channel. And our question for today, for all those who want to participate, is: has the national team improved under Micho's guidance? Augustine, pick it up from there.
Yeah, I think it was very, very disappointing going into these friendlies. I think we thought Micho was going there to try and assess the players that he has, and it's clear that we have got a big, big problem as a nation in terms of football. If you look at our defense, I think we have been conceding almost every game. Which is very, very concerning. If you ask me, going into the World Cup qualifiers, if you look at Micho's tactics, I think he's not sure with what he wants to do with the national team. Playing against the side against Senegal, it was expected for them to dominate us, and but we made it too easy sometimes for them. There were times where we didn't get close to them. We gave them too much respect, and we allowed them to control the game. I think we have struggled most times in first halves. We haven't been turning up in first half, and that was one poor first half against Senegal. Second half, we were a little bit decent. We got a goal back through Dominic Chanda, but Senegal were just too strong for Chipolopolo boys on that day, and it was accepted. We went into the Benin game. I think that was probably the most disappointing outing by the Chipolopolo boys. We considered early against the Benin side, who are looking to make their appearance at the Africa Cup of Nations. We have missed out again, and you could see Benin were physical. They played a lot of long balls. We couldn't deal with them. We considered it's more like the Chipolopolo boys now. They are more of.
Let's just pick this call, Augustine. Hello.
Yes, I'm getting you.
Yes. Good morning.
Morning.
You are through to Off the Pitch. Your name and where you are calling us from?
Patrick Chan from Tokyo.
Oh, okay. You can go ahead with your contribution, sir.
Yes, just a quick one. I'll set the record to the spinning ball last game. I want to run this point with the main excuses that were given for our foreign players.
Okay.
One certain example, has a very poor reason.
Yes.
Talk about the opportunity where people have a very poor reason. And the other players that serve to make it for the traveling part it was very, very important. That was a very high profile game, which we could have taken advantage of by using But excuses remain in this case. I blame the past executive for allowing local excuses. I then blame the coach as the shame. But I think defensively we are doing very, very bad. I'm trying to compare something with the second one of Zenko United. One in terms of structure and in terms of experience. Second one is better than Zenko. But we are trying out that we have been trying before. So basically the defense was not very, very good. But to try it out, there were just correct excuses which was very, very unfortunate. And it was unfortunate that Senegal gave us the high performance and improvement they have done in national team. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for coming through, sir.
Yeah, I think good contribution by Patrick Charlie, veteran sports analyst in terms of Zambian football. Is very, very well renowned in the Copa Belt. I think he does fantastic works in Kitwe, and what he said was very, very on point. I think the decision to leave out Patson Daka, I think it doesn't add up for me. I think we questioned it last time on the show, because how many players are playing at the Euros and are rumored to be on transfers? Jadon Sancho is being rumored to be
with the England squad.
He's with the national team. I think, to me, even some Senegal players who are playing against Zambia, they're rumored to be going elsewhere, but they played. Patson Daka, at the time Chipolopolo boys were going to these friendlies, he was in Lusaka. I think, to me, it's very, very disappointing for Micho, and that excuse, I think, to me, doesn't add up, because he's trying to make a team. He's trying for these players to find the right combinations so that they can be gelling. But why do you leave out the so-called best players in the team? And going back to the Benin game, I think after we went down by 1-0, that's when we realized we're in a game. I think we're not being proactive. We are more reactive, because until something happens, that's when we react to situations. We went in front. We equalized through Salwan Imperi. I think fantastic play. I think Pokatemo winning the ball back in central midfield. Then Roger Kola linking play very, very well with Salwan Imperi to equalize. And then just before half-time, every team loves to score just before half-time. We scored through Tandimwape, and you would have thought at that point Zambia now will control this game and will go and win it. But it was opposite. The second half we were below par. Some players, I think Moses Piri, he had a couple of chances, didn't convert. We didn't do much in the second half like we did in the first half. The second half now was the one which was poor, and we allowed Benin back into the game. Basic defending, I think it was just basic defending. Cut that cross so that it doesn't come into the box. We didn't do that. The cross comes into the box, and then in the box there was too much loose marking. There's no loose marking in the box. You always have to be tight, because you do not allow the opponent to attack you when you're always tight. And we conceded from that, and it was so frustrating going into this yesterday's practice match. It wasn't a FIFA recognized friendly. We heard he was going to use players that are not playing, but I was surprised. He called this boy from Cardiff. Is it Tazana? Maembe. Yes, I think, to me, you give him 2 minutes, introducing him into the 88 minutes. Why did you, in the first place, call this boy? You tried to convince him to try and come and play for Mother Zambia, and then this is the way you treat him. I think, how about those other players who haven't made up their mind if they are going to play for Zambia? Will they accept to come and play the last 2 minutes, even in a friendly which has got no bearings whatsoever? I think he could have started him so that we see what this boy is made of, but he didn't play him. Now, looking at Micho's overall performance ever since he took over as a Chipolopolo boys, he's played 20 games with that game which we played yesterday, which was number 20. We've kept only 5 clean sheets, which is very, very worrying. As Chipolopolo, we've conceded 26 times. We've only scored 25 goals. We've won 7, lost 7, and drew, is it 6? Yeah. I think, to me, the difference between Micho and Heverena, I don't like comparing two people because they are different, but at this case, we just need to compare. I think if you look at the time of Heverena when he came into this country, he went to look for talent. He realized the weaknesses and the strength of Zambia as a country, not just individuals, but Zambia as a country. Then he came up with a system which was now fitting in players in that system, players who are individuals who suited the system of Everina. But what Michu is trying to do is he's trying to pick individuals and then come up with a system which is now failing because we have been conceding goals left, right, and center. It's not about that defense, that back four or back six, which is defending when you don't have the ball. It's the entire structure of the team. Because sometimes we saw goals we considered against Algeria. From a full-back area, they progress until they score. There's no one who is putting a foot in midfield to try and close that ball. We do not have a defensive shape as a unit, so we are easy to play through. Because going back to a very nice time, Rena realized we were not very, very good defensively as Chipolopolo boys. So what do? We play to our strength. We keep the ball very, very well. And you would, even going back to his time, you would always hear him on the touch and say, keep the ball on the floor.
Let's just speak this call, Augustine. Sorry. Hello?
Hello, boss.
Hello, good morning, boss. Moshe. Okay, Moshe. Mulipa off the pitch, what's your contribution? Oh, okay, good morning. Okay. Awe tu atotera sana. Okay. But again, Augustine, let's look at it in this aspect. We went to play our friendly games to assess our players in terms of before we reach the qualifying games. But let's look at the number of players that we are being left that we are going to see playing the qualifying games. We are looking at Patson Daka. We are looking at Fashion Sakala. We are looking at Enoch Mwep. We are looking at Augustine Monek. We are looking at, okay, we'd say maybe for Cletus Chama, it's an understood thing. But there are a lot of players that we left who haven't been assessed. So how is Michu getting this as an assessment to the players that he didn't travel with?
I think this is what I was exactly talking about. Michu is trying to get individuals and try and find the system. After getting these individuals, what Michu needs to do is to build a system and then try and get these individuals that will fit into your system, and then you see progression. How do you go without Fashion Sagala? He hasn't played for the national team, I think, for over a year now. The last time he played was those back-to-back friendlies qualifiers against Botswana. Since then, he hasn't played for the national team. I think we would have loved to be part of this group to try and create that chemistry, that relationship with these players. If you look at Patson Daka, yes, they come from Red Bull Salzburg. They have got an understanding, but do they have an understanding with the other players? Squad? Yeah, that's the question that we want to look at. If you look at our defense, I think he has been chopping and changing every time. I think Michu cannot come up with a lineup consistently. That's why we cannot get result consistently. If you look at the national team at large, I think, to me, if we have to be honest with ourselves as a nation, I think we do not have strength and depth. If we have to be realistic, yeah, we have got players, but most of our players are average. If you look at the team which won the 2012 Africa Cup of Nations, compared to this team, they had strength and depth. We had Emmanuel Mayuka, who was playing for Southampton, but was coming to sit on the bench for Jacob Munenga. You remember those days? We had competition practically at every position. In goalkeeping department, we had Kennedy Mwene, Mamelodi Sundowns #1. We had Kalidiro Kakonje, Tipi Mazembe #2. We had Joshua Titima, Power Dynamos #1, Jacob Banda, Zesco United #1, Danny Munyao, Red Arrows #1. But you cannot see that now. There's no that competition if you look at the current squad. Evere now would use the same players, the same system, sorry, but different individuals and get the same results. He would play Kasonde in central midfield, he would play Noah Chifuta in central midfield and still get the same end result. He would play the likes of Nyambe Mulenga at fullback. He would play as a centre half, but still get the same desired results. And if you look up front, going into the AFCON, we had James Chamanga, we had Emmanuel Mayuka, We had Jonas Agua, who was the current top scorer in the Sudanese league, but didn't see action. You can see how much quality we had. We had Ivan Skangwa, who was coming from Ghana, top scorer in the Zambian Super League. Clifford Mulenga, he never even saw a lot of game time. So you could see the quality that we had compared to this squad. If you are going to be realistic with this squad, take away Patson Daka, Enoch Mebwa, Fashion Sakala, and then tell me which controversial player did Michu leave out to say that was a controversial move. To say that player should have been in the starting lineup. I think maybe it's one or two players, but if you look at those days when we had that squad, Michu would call Rena would call a squad, and there would be like 10 players people would have thought would have broken into that team. But if you look at it now, I think we do not have a lot of quality, if we have to be honest with ourselves, compared to the countries that we face. Look at Senegal. Their national team is predominantly coming from Europe. Look at Algeria, who played the final against Senegal. All players from Europe. If you look at Zambia, the only players we have is 4 or 5 players in Europe. And they are not in the top leagues in Europe. So I think we have, whereby countries are taking a right, we have taken a left. I think we are going in the wrong direction in terms of football. If we have to be honest, yeah. We won the 2017 Africa Cup tournament, the junior ones. But how many players do we have currently playing in the senior team? We have got Patson Daka, Enoch Mwepu,
Prosper Chiluya, who is just being introduced.
Just being introduced. We've got Fashion Sakala. I think these three are the one who have stood up. Emmanuel Banda hasn't been given a lot of chances at the senior national team. Same applies to Edward Chirufi. I think maybe we need to play to our strength, like Verena did, play more attacking football than defensive, because we do not have that.
Let's just pick this call, Augustine. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Hello, good morning, sir.
Yes, I'm getting you.
Yes, your name and where you are calling us from. You are through to off the pitch.
So, this is Jamonga from Kapiwe.
Oh, okay. You can go ahead with your contribution, sir.
Okay. Now, the thing is, the Zambia national team has got, can you speak in like in my local language?
Yes, you can.
Yeah. Problem yesterday now, number first 11.
Okay.
Yeah, first 11 the whole country has turned universal. Every time we stand up there, game video, so that is, I think that we are players. People that doesn't now, first 11, you have to say a game video, so we not say this one, and the number is for. Not say, who can say a game video, I think that change that say. One time of the say that going to now. But the time that talk about the respect is that somewhere là. Just say that somewhere, but just end up with the motion. Look at our goalkeepers. The best goalkeeper is but the best choice was I'm division in South Africa. There is not even better than our Senegal.
Yeah.
You get the point. But you are the one who has to take the care of that when you go to South Africa. What is the benefit getting in the money?
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Then the second issue is competition among players. If you talk about who you understand before, let me say maybe person doesn't understand it. That's what we do now. He is it. So that we can person data. We let me say example to when woman. People that play. And then in case the position that was another way, another way. What is the so, I want to say that I want to say that players make class the next year. The one thing of that is one of the I want to understand what we are doing. I will make more. What they do the case that they will make support. Not easy.
With
if you go to a man, what is that thing? If you go to a man, who just is the government of the case that you also have to do that. And if you get the man,
yeah. No, thank you very much, sir. Augustine, I think before you go, I'll touch on the issue of player competition. When you look at the competition, that he means it's more of players who are vying for positions that are being owned by Enoch Mwepu, Fashion Sakala, and Patson Daka. Their morale is already down.
I think
because they know when these guys come, whether we traveled with them or not, they are guaranteed of a position.
I think it was exactly what I was talking about when he talked about the strength and depth in the squad. I think we do not have that because it shouldn't be a given that Patson Daka should start. It shouldn't be a given that Enoch Mwepu should start. It's because of lack of competition. That's the reason why we're having these players just walk straight through into this starting 11. And if we remove these players, Patson Daka, Enoch Mwepu, and okay, I wouldn't say Fashion Sakala, I wouldn't go that far because they've done nothing at the senior team level, if we have to be honest. I would go Enoch Mwepu and Patson Daka. If we leave them out of this squad, then there's a very, very big gap in the national team. I think we need to work towards try to develop these young lads and help them get better. I think, interestingly, he's picked up points that I raised about some selections. I think to me, some selections, we do not have enough quality. I think if we have to be honest, we do not have enough quality. If Micho is going to come up with a system, I think he has to make it clear to these boys. If we've seen towards the games that we've played, the national team doesn't know whether we should press or drop off. I think they are always in no man's land. He needs to find a system to try and fit these players in rather than getting the individuals and now trying to look for a system for these players.
Anyway, we are glued to Off the Pitch, and for those who are just joining us, you're watching Off the Pitch, and our question for today is, do you think Zambia has improved in terms of football under Micho? And we'll just take a very short break and we'll be right back as we look at the games that are being played today and the bigger ones that are, or the anticipated game, the one between Young Green Eagles and Ghana. We'll discuss more in depth on it as we just get back on your screens after this short break. Welcome back, and before we start discussing other things, we've got a caller. Let's just speak this call, Augustine, and we look at the games that are being played today. Hello? Hello? I think we seem to have a challenge in terms of getting hold of the caller, Augustine, and as... Hello? You are through to Off the Pitch. Your name and where you are calling us from?
Yeah, my name is Frank. I'm calling from Canada.
Ah, okay, Frank. You are through. You can go ahead with your contribution.
Yeah, let's start in the question, which is a really broke Nanda system. The answer is that for Enoch. Yeah, they're not really organic, not of 5 years. That's very complicated. But that's not possible that when we're not here, we also have in the issue of quality. What we do, we make sure that we keep the to make the case of the player. Where the make the return story not being seen before the game? Nobody makes it in. Where was more people in the last year? Nobody said that it's been. But they now identify players who are fit to this system. Yeah, so the problem what I'm saying, our coach, like, keeping him with that, trying to start and the game that's not against Algeria, in fact, we still don't think we should that, but we continue to go. In the sense that, if you know that the game that is playing against Finland, this thing that they are, you started with 20 shoot that. Because that goes like saying you take one, take that. But when you get to 20 shoot that, the method is that you don't think of this more goal. But if you have to take more goals to take that, once you continue going with the same point, 20 shoot that. So, you can never expect to send players like giving them at the guard. You have to make the break out of these players. Let them say, no, but also that is not play. But if I can't play, but if you don't play, how are you going to get the break out of this player? Yeah. If you cannot do that, for me, I think you got the right point. But you cannot go, you cannot continue saying, no, we did play on the world to do that, we did a match on that, we did just go to this and that. But that's a nice that. You need to send things to ground right now, or else I don't think that's the reason for not World Cup. If you can't provide World Cup, then I don't think you get into things, you can get in, yeah, so that's what you do.
And Franchola, before you go, there's a Kamanga derby tomorrow, Jumbe versus Kamanga Rangers. What's your prediction? Okay.
No, I'll be there with you to watch. Hopefully, I'll find you there.
I'll be there.
Oh, okay, thank you, brother man.
Okay.
And before we change the topic, Augustine, let's look at a comment in terms of on Facebook. That's from Mundia Nyambe. His comment is 0-0. Zambia national team is at its poorest form in football history under MICHO. MICHO has us. We are going nowhere with MICHO. He must go. And Augustine, I think before we do, as all the time we get reasons to say, I'm assessing. But don't you think the games that we've given him by now, are they not enough?
I think if we are going to go that direction, I think he has had a fair time. If we have to be honest, MICHO has had a fair time, but we just need to give him this final chance going into this World Cup qualifiers, because he never started the Africa Cup qualifier. So we'll try and give him a chance to start a World Cup qualifier so that we see what he does during those competitive games, because these are friendlies. He's allowed to experiment, he's allowed to make mistakes. I think it's the only time we can make these mixed mistakes, and when we move from this stage going into the qualifiers, it's serious business. He needs to get his best 11. We need to get some consistency, because we have struggled in terms of results. We haven't been putting at least 3 or 4 victories together under MICHO. I don't even remember when he won 3 games in a row the last time he was appointed coach, and we are probably still, we haven't moved forward and we haven't gone backwards. We are just where MICHO found us, if I have to be honest.
We are hoping to get better results tomorrow as MICHO plays his last friendly. It's tomorrow, right?
Yes.
Tomorrow we are playing against Sudan. That's our last friendly game that is being notified and known by the FIFA. Was the one that was played yesterday, wasn't on the FIFA calendar. And the league is heating up, and when I say the league is heating up, we have the MTN Super League is back this weekend, and this is week 32. And the fixtures that are being played, very interesting fixtures today. We've got at 15 hours, Augustine, we've got Young Green Eagles versus Nkana, which was a debatable game, I would say. It was debatable in terms of they wanted to switch the stadium from the Kosa to the Eden Inn. Is it Imboela? Edwin Imboela, sorry. What's your take on this one?
I think it's going to be a very, very interesting encounter. They wanted to move the game to Edwin Imboela because in terms of the people on the TV rights, when it comes to the Zambia Super League, they wanted to move the game. I think it's there in their own rights because they are the owners of the TV rights, but they have reversed their decision and it has been taken back to Kosa Stadium. It's going to be a very, very big encounter for both Nkana and Young Green Eagles. I think to me, when it comes to Nkana, it matters more to them than Young Green Eagles because Nkana wants to get out of those relegation spots. If they want to jump out of those relegation spots, they need to drag in, it's either Young Green Eagles or Indeni, the teams that are immediately above them, the two teams above them. So if they can get a win against the Young Green Eagles, then Nkana's chances will be boosted. But if Nkana go to Kosa Stadium and don't get a result, it will still be a question of will they survive or not. It will still be debatable. Teams have gone to Kosa Stadium. Zesco United have been beat there. Sensational Zanaco, Namsa Stars, GBFC, they have gone there and come out of there with nothing. Red Arrows have gone there. Forest Rangers have just managed to get a point from Kosa Stadium. They do not concede a lot of goals at home, Young Green Eagles. And one positive thing about this team is that they maintained the core of the team which brought them up.
Let's just pick this call, Augustine. Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Your name and where you are calling us from, sir. You are through to Off the Pitch.
Okay, this is Henry Smoker calling from Northwestern.
Oh, okay. You can go ahead with your contribution.
Okay, thank you, sir. I just want to contribute this quickly. If you can see this international game that you have, starting with Senegal, and the second one that said what this we had yesterday. We considered 3 goals, the first game against Senegal. The second one we considered 2. The third one we considered 3. If you look at the consistency of the defense, it's very, very poor. It never has to improve. We can see if we can get 3 goals for Senegal. For the second game, at least we can get 1 or less. But these mistakes are just continuing. I don't know what Levy what he's doing. And we can't just continue relying on 3 players to say Passion, and Waifu. What happens if these players are injured? MICHO should have come with the chemical to see there are so many players, we just have to do drill. We are tired of reducing and rebuilding. Let them do their job. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your comment, sir.
Okay.
Augustine.
Very, very valid points there. I think he's touched a lot of concerns that Zambians have. I think he has highlighted them very, very well. We cannot keep depending on 3 players. I think Zambia is a very, very big country. He needs to find the solutions. That's the reason why Micho was brought in, to find the solutions for the problems that we have been facing. So if he cannot find the solutions, I don't think who will find the solutions, because he's the coach. He needs to find the solutions and work hand in hand with these coaches at the football clubs. I think sometimes you need just to share notes, to say, I see player A, B, C, D, and they need to improve on such and such, and you can share notes. I think we see this in Europe. You tell the club coach, because he's the one who works with these players week in, week out, tell the players, try and work on A, B, C, D, and we'll be good from there. And going back to the Ghana game, Ghana Football Club have looked very, very different under based on Chambeshi. I think the thing that we've been talking about, consistency in terms of performances, in terms of selection, we've seen this with based on Chambeshi. Under Kelvin Kaindu, there wasn't consistency in terms of the Ghana starting 11, especially the back line. He was always chopping and changing the way Mitch was doing it, but Quicksilver's coming. He's got a solid back four which will defend for Ghana. They will not commit a lot going forward, and they'll be solid in midfield. And the strikers up front, they'll try and harass, try and attack the spaces, try and run into channels and work for the team. Ghana now look a different team under Quicksilver because they are working now. We can see them outrunning teams. It wasn't happening in the first round, but now we can see the confidence has grown. Alex Ngonga's influence on the team is very, very inevitable. We've seen a different Elsutra Shimenga is someone who can come from the bench and get a result for Ghana, which is very, very positive. You need all your players going into this final stretch of the season, and going at Kosa Stadium is very, very tricky for Ghana. Quicksilver is been proven to get results at stubborn places. He's done that. He was with Kansanshi. We saw Kansanshi, the way they are playing in Division 1. They played very, very good football.
Let's just speak this call, Augustine. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Your name and where you are calling us from?
Yes, I'm calling from Avondale.
Oh, okay. You can go ahead with your contribution.
Yes, I just want to agree with what Augustine is saying about Micho having a system, not having a system at all. And when you look at the past games that Micho has been trying for the Zambia national team, we are not going anywhere. And I want to say, the senior national team, we could start introduce Bafana, so at that way, more national team, if you remember that time. That's where they destroyed the Zambia national team because of allowing the young ones. And then if we be depending on persons that are persons that are new, that was the over. When you look at the other caller, what he said was, no, what if they are injured? And then we don't have key players for all of us. Which means we won't go anywhere. And when you talk about defense again, defense, we totally have nothing defenders. You know, you can't compare that guy who was playing number 2 yesterday, and who's that name, the guy, with Sulimba from there. You can't compare them. You know, Sulimba has been good to national team, but what is he doing Sulimba? You see? And then we talk of the goalkeeper. He's still in the form. Call him. You see? Let's talk of this guy who's from China. Sunzu. Sunzu is joking. Call Sunzu. You know, you will need Zambia. You know, in Zambia we love football. But if they will be doing this, then that's what I'm trying to say.
Oh, yeah.
So we need always to go on the top in terms of football. So, yeah, that's the thing. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think, Augustine, looking at looking at the previous caller that we are from having, I would say you once gave a point to say, you gave an example of the Ghana national team, the way they blended in terms of
those young players,
the young players and the senior players that were being there. But looking at how we did it in terms of Zambia, I feel like after our success in the 2012 AFCON, the whole team,
I think the pressure coming from the fans and from the pundits, I think it's the reason why the national team was going to where it is now. If you remember, Everina 2013 going into the Africa Cup as defending champions, he was very, very clear to say change is gradual. We cannot just come and change the entire teams, because there are a lot of people who came out and started calling the 2012 guys third legs. Everina was saying, yes, they might be growing, but we need to introduce these young players gradually.
Bit by
you
bit.
Remember 2013, he just took Mkukamulenga to the Africa Cup of Nations. Then next AFCON was, is it 2015 when we went with Ona Janza? Janza obliged to what the people were calling for. He changed the entire team. We saw young players, Patrick Dudengoma, Rodrick Kawe, Luambo Msonda, Bruce Msanga. He got all those young players. People were calling for these young players. Sate was on fire that time.
Yeah.
And what happened at the Africa Cup of Nations? Another group stage exit. And from that point, we have failed to qualify. I think he has got a very, very good point. In terms of changing the guard, passing on the guard, I think to me we didn't do it very well. It was supposed to be gradual. We watched Italy yesterday play Turkey, and we saw Bonucci and Chiellini. We are still playing in that Italy. You need those experienced heads. I think there are times when they go and get stuff, and you need that experienced voice to tell you what to do and what not to do. He's touched on Stopira Sunzu, Kennedy Mwene, key players, Simon Sulimba, key players in defense. People have got experience. Maybe we may need to consider that. We need a little bit of experienced heads in that defense, so that you can let these young players with energy attack more going up front.
Talking of, maybe as we get back, Augustine, to the league, our local league, that's the MTN Super League. How vital is this game for Ghana in terms of a win for them?
It's very, very crucial, because Ghana, the remaining games, they've got the Beautycon, they've got Namsa Stars, they've got Sensation Zanaco, and Young Green Eagles. If you look at these 4 teams, each team is playing for something. Young Green Eagles are playing to stay up in the league. And going at Kosa Stadium, it will be very, very tricky for Ghana. Then they host Beautycon at Chilata. The team which beat them at Ledimwanasa Stadium by 2-0. Beautycon are playing for a continental place. And Beautycon, I've always seen them as a team which is very unpredictable. You do not know which kind of game they will try and play against you. And they've got Brian Miller in their ranks, who scored the braces at there for Chipolopolo boys. If he comes back, it will be a very, very important game for Ghana. They have got Zanaco going at Sanse Stadium. Zanaco have only lost 1 home game this season, and which was against a relegated Kitchen United, the side which was playing barely for nothing. But now they are playing Ghana. Zanaco are playing to try and close the gap to Zesco United, to try and close it at least maybe to 3 or 4 points. they are fighting for the title.
Maybe let's just have a display of the FAS table so that people are able to follow what the discussion is all about.
So if you look at the numbers, Zanaco are on 53 points and Zesco on 61 points. Zanaco would want to close that gap so that they have got that little hope of winning the league title. So it will be very, very tricky for Ghana. And on the final day, we might have a straight shootout, a pure relegation battle when Ghana meets NAPSA Stars. One of the team will surely register for Eden University between the two.
Hopefully, if Angorapson was here, he was going to give another view.
He will say it will be NAPSA, but it's not. We do not know who will be relegated between the two because NAPSA Stars have been poor last 10 games, 1 victory, and they are playing Zesco United, who want to secure that league title. Very, very tricky game for them. Ghana, a win today, against the Green Eagles. You will see them go to number 12, which will be safe place, number 13, which will be safe waters for Ghana Football Club. But it's very, very tricky going at Costa Stadium, and I see a draw.
Anyway, let's look at the other games that are being played today, Augustine. We've got Lumana Radiance versus Red Arrows, which will be played at the Independence Stadium. That's today. And then tomorrow, Sunday the 13th, we've got Forest Rangers, who is hosting Indeni at Levi Manassa Stadium, and the game will be live at on SuperSport. And at 15 hours, we've got Zesco United versus NAPSA Stars. So a big game as well. And we saw something that Bwezani had posted on his page to say the last time these teams met was, I think, the interesting fixture like this same one was the time when NAPSA Stars won Zesco United, and Zesco United ended up winning the title again.
Yeah.
Are we seeing one and the same thing happening tomorrow?
I think, if I'm not mistaken, that was 2019.
16? Was it
2017?
Yeah.
Colin Sikombe scored for Zesco United. But the tables have changed. If you look at NAPSA Stars now fighting relegation, Zesco United look a different proposition, wanting to win the league title. Numba Mamba, he went under heavy criticism when he took over this job. A lot thought he wasn't fit enough. I think a lot of us had question marks to say, is Numba Mamba the right man for this job? But you've seen he's gone in, he's improved this Zesco United. He's brought in young players with a lot of energy to try and help this side win they retain the league title, because they lost the title. Ghana won it last season. Sorry. Now Zesco United missing out on continental football and not winning the league title. I think, to me, it has brought a different Zesco, probably the best out of Zesco United. We've seen the club making very, very tough decision, letting go of Jacob Banda. We are not seeing of Kondwani Mutonga. David Owino Diambo was released, Enoch Sabumukama, and now they're brought in young players like Chanda Mukuka from Gomes on loan. He's been very, very good for Zesco United, very, very outstanding. Enoch Sakala, his first full season in the Super League for the main team, and he's done very, very well. Kasomorua, a very, very intelligent young boy. I think he's one of them that have really, really impressed me this season. And going up against the NAPSA Stars side, Chintukambamba, I think there was a team bonding, something which NAPSA had embarked on away from football. They just want to get that confidence back into this side and have this final push, because they've got tricky games. They've got Zesco United, they've got Nkwazi, and they've got Nkana. These are very, very tough games for NAPSA Stars, and these will decide whether they stay up or not, NAPSA Stars. And it's going to be very, very interesting against Zesco United. The first game was ended in a draw at
let's just speak this call, guys. Hello?
Hi, good morning, guys.
Mr. Sikombe.
Good morning, Mr. Sikombe.
Good morning, Jim.
No, we are fine. How is the coverage going so far? We want you to lead us through the coverage that you are doing in terms of the Young Green Eagles game versus Ghana.
We are started.
Okay.
Well, my contribution to the question that is calling on screen. Basically, you will recall that I've always said that MICHO is an average coach. He's very, very average coach. Basically, very poor. And while you want to create a team from scratch, you create a team from scratch and you are expecting results instantly. You get rid of this and goalkeepers like Kennedy when every goalkeeper, you see the rate that you are competing for is very, very unattractive.
more than played less than 6 minutes in all the games that he has played. That's totally unacceptable. We have to go. And I think for me, the result that MICHO is bringing to Zambia, we are better off with an encouraged coach who has experience and deliver. And I think we're going to do a good job. Coming back to the stadium, my good catching in Ghana stadium, making that was more tremendous important. Yeah. Yes, the game was moved back to Costa Stadium, and I'm glad that you talked about teams that are falling there, including ZESCO United. But you see, you cannot compare Ghana Football Club to ZESCO United.
Ghana in relegation zone. Yes, you can't compare Ghana in relegation zone.
And in Ghana, the same team that ZESCO United by 2-0.
And the same ZESCO United won at Ghana Stadium.
Expect a different result in Ghana Football Club going to Costa Stadium. The game of the week for me is NAFTA
versus
visiting ZESCO United. That is a very big game. And when in Ghana, it was this afternoon, and tomorrow we'll be watching the League Cup final between ZESCO and Atlantic. I think in Bangkok, I was going to say, if this game was played on any other day, we could have seen after like on the day we could get up with it. And I think this could they want to wrap it up, they want to open the season and close the season tomorrow at 17 hours. So all the kind of for fans that are blocking the theory, if I told you just get it, just please back up. This COVID is real and it's not bearing anyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
That's Ango Rapson, our co-host on the show. He's just covering the game. He's waiting to cover the game. That's Young Green Eagles versus Ghana, and he will bring us more details. And he was just giving his point of view in terms of what he's been always saying. And I knew if he was here, he was going to say Ghana will palangashet.
Just a quick roundup on the games that are played. I think Ghana Green Eagles, I think it will be a draw. I go for a draw in that encounter. And for Red Arrows versus Lumana, a tricky game. I think a draw or a slender win for either side, maybe 1-0 for either side, because we haven't seen a lot of goals between Red Arrows and Lumana Radiants. And coming to the ZESCO game, I think I would go with a 3-1 victory for ZESCO.
And let's look at comments from Facebook. We've got Jonathan Ngandu, who is just commented saying, not as yet, still far. So meaning he means MICHO is still far. We are still far from being a football nation, like the other coach had said, like Zambia is not a football nation. And then we've got Mishek M. Triumph. He's saying he needs to rebuild the team. Let's see how he does this by giving him some time and support. Does he deserve the time and support? But anyway, let's look. The Euros kicked off yesterday night by Italy hosting, or by Turkey hosting Italy, but the whole competition is in Italy, and we saw Italy thrashing Turkey by 3-0, an own goal and a goal from Immobile and Insigne. Augustine?
I think interesting encounter between Turkey and Italy. I think you thought Turkey were going to be a little bit attack-minded. I think they were very, very negative in their approach. They allowed Italy to have possession of the ball. I think there was no supply to Yilmaz up front. I think he's very, very good technically. Yilmaz is very, very strong physically. He will go for a tussle. He's good in the air. He scores goals, and I felt Hakim Çalhanoğlu coming from the Italian league was going to play very, very close to Yilmaz and try to create, but it didn't happen for the Turkey. So as a result, Sayuncu and the backline were put under immense pressure, and you saw Italians are one team which have been underrated at this tournament, but I believe they have got a very, very good side, and they might upset the odds in this tournament. Italy, they have gone now 20 games unbeaten. Under Roberto Mancini, you can see what he's trying to do with the team. I think one player to look out for is Locatelli. I think in central midfield for Sassuolo, he's played very, very well. He has had a good season in Serie A, and he might be the difference. You can see playing alongside Jorginho in central midfield and allowing the more attack-minded Baseli to be more adventurous, to link up play with the likes of Lorenzo Insigne and Ciro Immobile. I think another player coming from the bench, Federico Chiesa, will be very, very key. He was a young boy who was destined for greatness, but went at Juventus. He didn't have good time at Juventus, but this is the stage you should relish as a player, a young player like Federico Chiesa. Very, very technically gifted. He can play in those little holes of spaces. He's always looking to take on defenders and make things happen. It's very, very interesting for Italy, and we are looking at the whole tournament. I think favorites, I think probably you cannot look past France. France will always be the favorites. I think another favorite, I think Belgium. I think this is the last chance for this group of players to do something for Belgium. We've got Germany. They're always there in tournaments. Germany are always present. They always have a say in big tournaments. And we have got teams like Portugal. I think these four for me are real contenders for the title. Portugal, he has. Compared to England, Southgate picked 10 defenders, and Portugal have only picked 3 centre-backs. Jose Font, Pepe, and Ruben Diaz, only 3 centre-backs. They have got a lot of attacking talent going forward. I think to me it will be very, very interesting to see how Portugal performs, because this Portugal side, compared to the Portugal which won the Euro, this is far much better. They have got a lot of talent going forward. And if you look at an outside chance, I think England will come in with an outside chance. England, they are neither here nor there in tournaments. I think they haven't won their first game at the Euros since, I think, 70s or 60s, somewhere there. I think I've always been proved right about England to say they are always the bridesmaids. I think they will never even get close to winning the whole thing, and I haven't been proved wrong yet because I wasn't born in 1966 when they won the World Cup. So we wait to see what England will throw at the tournament against Croatia. Croatia, another side with an outside chance, another side to upset the odds. Those dark horses, I think Croatia are one of them because they have got probably one of the best midfields in at the Euros. They've got Kovacic, they have got Luka Modric, they have got Brozovic, they have got Ivan Rakitic. I think they have got players who can fetch and carry like Ivan Perisic and Ante Rebic. I Ante Rebic he's grown into the player we expected him to be when he went to AC Milan. I think at the World Cup in Russia he was too playful, but now you can see a different Ante Rebic. He's adding numbers to his game, he's scoring goals and getting assists. I think these Euros will be very, very interesting.
A quick one, Augustine. We've run out of time. Just your final remarks before we close the show.
I think it's been a wonderful show. Thanks to all the viewers out there that tuned in to watch the show. We are nothing without you, the viewers, and a big thanks to everyone who participated through calling and on social media. We hope to have an interesting Euro, and looking forward to the league games during the week, and I hope to see you next week, same time, same place.
Anyway, like we always say, it's very sad to say our bye-byes, but we don't have what it takes to stay on your screens. But anyway, looking at the other games, like Italy played their first game, that was yesterday, and they are in the same group with Wales and Switzerland. And Switzerland and Wales are squaring up today at 15 hours, and we've got at 18 hours we've got Denmark versus Finland. In that 21 hours, that's the last game between Russia and Belgium, the Belgium that Augustine just spoke of. We would like to thank everyone who participated via calling and texting via social media, and not forgetting Uncle Rapson, who made an effort to call in and give his view even if he's not with us on set. And our main man, Frank, thanks for all your support we've been receiving from you, and we appreciate. On behalf of the whole entire crew, that's me, Augustine, Isaac, Delia, not forgetting one Elijah Jito, and Amazing for guiding us here in the studios. We say bye-bye, see you next week, and stay glued to your TV as Amazing is coming on your screens with nothing but the best in terms of gospel. That's on the weekly gospel show. We're out. Bye-bye.